Okay, this is our introduction to 411 or 511 if you're a graduate student. As you can see here, this is kind of the landing page. Mine's going to look just a little bit different than yours just because mine's the instructor view and not the student view. I have a little more access to a few more things than you guys do. But generally speaking, they're pretty much the exact same. When you open up the course, it comes to the Start Here page. After this week, I will change that so it will open up into the weekly module so you don't have to kind of do another step. Because after the first week, you should have this information down. You could always still go click on Start Here, but generally speaking. So here's kind of the welcome, here's the purpose and the structure of the course. Really the structure talks about kind of how this course is laid out as an online course and what you should expect. Most all of our assignments are due on Sunday. There's a few things that we have to do a peer review, and those dates are a little bit earlier, so we just have time to get that review in, and then you have time to make those changes and then submit a final draft. But generally speaking, most things are due on Sunday by 11:59 p.m. We'll talk about the course calendar and the syllabus in just a second. We do have a lot of VoiceThread discussions in this class. You will have to do a couple of presentations, and you will have to submit comments to some discussion boards. So make sure if you're not familiar with VoiceThread, you look through those tutorials. Same thing with Zoom. I won't require a weekly meeting or anything like that. I'll be open to it. So generally speaking, after everybody kind of gets the hang of the course, we'll just meet as needed. So if you have a question or you're struggling with the content, you can let me know. We can meet via Zoom. I'm also on campus. You can meet with me during my office hours, or even some other time we can arrange if Zoom or my office hours don't work for you. So just make sure you keep up to that. So if you see yourself starting to struggle, let me know ahead of time that you need help. Don't wait till the end. So the next thing, so we'll just kind of move on to week 1, which I'm going to pop in here. So this is kind of our, I usually post a things to do for each of the weeks. So you can make sure that you get through the things that you need to do, kind of thing. Here's my VoiceThread introduction. And then here is how to create a VoiceThread. So if you've never created, here is introduction to that. And then you are to introduce yourself via presentation, similar to kind of like what I did, or you can just do a video. You don't have to post pictures or anything. Just an idea for us to meet each other if I haven't had you in class, but also for you to get to know other students in the class too. And then you can log on here and you can go look at your classmates' VoiceThreads and post comments. And I highly recommend that you seek out someone that you don't know and introduce yourself to them and try to, get to know them. Whereas some of the other folks you may already know. And I'm going to jump back just a hair bit and look at the course syllabus. So if you click on here, I have the course syllabus set on a Google Doc for this class. And now all of a sudden says summer. I didn't change that. Oh, good thing I clicked that. There is a fall one. So I will change that. But, oh, darn. I thought I didn't change that. Well, we'll just get out of that. And, well, there's not much change, so I'll just kind of go back through it. Oh, I know where it's changed at. I bet. See, this one says the fall. I just didn't change the link on the other one. So this is the fall syllabus here. I'll change the other one so it will show fall. The main things you need on here are my telephone numbers. So I give you my office number, but also give you my cell phone number. You're more than welcome to send me a text message. Just please, if you send me a text message, tell me who you are and what class you're in. Because technically I have 6 classes this semester. So I have a lot of students that have my information. So if you send me a text and say, hey, I need help with this assignment, and I'm like, well, what? I don't know what you're talking about. So make sure you tell me who you are and what class you're in, so I know, because even if you tell me who you are, I may have you for 2 classes. And so, like, which class do you need help with? Then also, here's my office. It's in Teacher Ed. Most all of you have been over there, so you should know where the general vicinity is, and they'll lead you to my office. You can usually get with me via email. My phone has been messing up here lately, so my emails may be a little slow, but I check them usually every morning and every night. But I don't know what's going on with my phone anymore. Used to, I could pretty much respond when I got it if I wasn't busy. But I will be on campus for office hours from 12 to 3 on Tuesday and Thursday. Now, generally, I am there other days, but I do have a practicum course, so I am out in the field at different schools, so those hours vary. But if you need me on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, we can make an appointment, or we can meet via Zoom, just like kind of how we're meeting right now. This section gives you just kind of course description and what this course is about. Here's some outcomes, and these are things that you should be able to do by the end of this course. Some program outcomes within teacher education and how this course aligns to those. This kind of gives you an update of how the course is laid out within Blackboard. You will need the textbook, and it is Mitch Yale, The Law and Special Education, 4th edition. They have coming out with a 5th edition. I think it'll be out at Christmas, so you guys are lucky. It's actually, I'm surprised they didn't get it changed before then, but there is a new edition coming out. Let's see here. Kind of here's how the courses are brought out. There are also, I've added a couple extra things in there this time. We've got a group assignment and a group presentation that we're going to try. We're going to kind of pilot that in this course. I have not done a group presentation online yet, so you guys are going to be my guinea pigs, and we're going to give it a shot and see how that works. But generally, like I said, most time everything is due by Sunday. Grading scale, the main thing is note that a 92 starts an A. Late policy, this is an online class. You've got the course calendar way ahead of time. I don't accept late assignments. You know what's coming up. I open up the modules a week early, so you should have plenty of time. If you know something's coming up, work ahead. Don't wait till Sunday just to start on your assignments. There's some other policies and things like that within here that you may need to be aware of, but they're there for you if you need them. Now let's look at the course calendar. Okay, so the calendar, you'll see I have it divided as weeks. So generally speaking, we do 1 chapter a week. And so I'll have, this is what your reading is. These are going to be your assignments within that module. These will be the quizzes, and these are the due dates. So there is 1 week that you have 2 assignments due kind of at the same time, but that kind of covers over fall break. So it's week 7 and 8. They're due on the 14th because you've got fall break in there. So technically you have 2 weeks. So like this one's due on 9/30, but these 2 are not due until 10/14. But that way you've got a little bit of time for that fall break in there. But that way you can work ahead and get them done before fall break, or you still have a little bit of time to get them finished after fall break. But it is 2 chapters. And this one, I think, no, I didn't have the big assignment, so you're good. And as you can see through here, we go all the way. We do have a midterm and a final in this class, and that I give you a week for those as well. Okay, let's see. Now let's go look over here at these weekly modules. So like this is our first one. Just kind of give you an overview. We kind of talked about that. But then after you finish that, you'll go into the chapter 2, which will talk about legal research and how you do legal research. Like I said, I give you the to-do chapter. Here are some chapter resources. So if you click on these are other books or articles that you may want or use. Here are different websites that you can use for legal research, especially if any of you are interested in law at all. you would need to know these kind of things. And then how to, here's some law reviews, and then just look up different court cases and so forth. All right, so I do not do a VoiceThread lecture for each of these chapters. Generally, these chapters are pretty easy reading chapters. They're not very long. As you can see, this one's 20 pages. So you should be pretty good. I do attach some type of PowerPoint. These are publisher PowerPoints, but just to help you be able to take some notes as you're going through and doing your reading. The main thing I like to do is after you've read this is to put it into action. So like, how can you take your knowledge of what you've learned in your reading and apply it to what you may see in a school situation? So that's where a lot of our VoiceThread discussions come in. And this one just so happened you're going to be doing an internet scavenger hunt, and it's looking up things that have to do with special education law even here in Indiana. So it's kind of a neat idea. I do give you lots of videos to watch, and they're pretty short videos, but they supplement what you've read. So if we talk about, this is probably one of the most important court cases that ever came about for special education. That's actually, if it's because of this court case that we had, Public Law 94-142, which is the children with disability. Well, it's the handicapped children. I'm going to get all mixed up now. It ended up being IDEA. I have to write it down. It's the Law of Handicap of All Children of 1973, I think is how it goes. But it's Public Law 94-142, which was reauthorized to IDEA, which is what we have. We still have IDEA now. That is the special ed law, the main one that governs special ed. So I will give you lots of videos for each chapter that supplement your reading. Also, you have a self-check quiz. You can take this quiz multiple times. I mean, there is no consequence to you for your grade. There are only 5 questions, but it recycles, you know, each time, so you'll want to take it multiple times. And then you do have a quiz for each chapter. They are timed, 30 minutes, but you can use your book or notes. But I do recommend if you just go through and take your time doing those self-check quizzes, then the real quiz is pretty easy. So let's look here again. This one, we do have a case study. So a case study, so here's another very prominent law. Legislation was Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. That was one of our founding laws in education that started to get away from the separate but equal, and no segregation within schools. This one is ESEA, which is the signing of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. That's been reauthorized up the line. You may have heard of No Child Left Behind. This is what this law, that's the ESEA, the version that was No Child Left Behind. We are now in ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act. So when you see these kinds of things, that's where that comes from. You have to do a case brief assignment. So within the case brief, I'm asking you specific things to go and look at some of these court cases and read about them and write a response to the question. So you'll just actually pull up that Word document and then type your answer directly into that and then post it, then submit that assignment in this link. Same thing, quizzes. I wanted to see, let's see where we've got. This is our first, we actually have our first discussion board. So I have, like I said, lots of videos here to supplement some things. This is our first discussion board. I would like for you to post your response by Friday. That way you have the weekend, you can comment on your classmates, because you need to comment on at least one of your classmates. So if you'll have your responses submitted by Friday, and then you'll have Saturday and Sunday to post to your classmates' response. But then that also gives me time to go in there. Sometimes I will post on your particular post. Other times I'll just make a general post about, especially if there's a misconception or this is exactly what the law says, and I'll actually pull language directly from the law, because these are scenario kind of questions, and they tend to be, some of them are controversial. I'll have a mix, like some believe it should be this person or some believe it should be another. Let's see, kind of go through. I'm trying to think when that we've got some other big assignments. Okay, this starts one of the assignment that we're piloting. It's called the Special Education Leadership Issue. It's Chapter 11. You'll actually work with a group. Within your group, you have assignments. You actually have to go and interview a general education administrator, so like a vice principal or a principal or someone in central office, about what are some of the issues they have with special education. And once you will collaborate together to get all of that information, and like I said, you can read a little further. I just want to give you a heads up. And then the next week, you actually will have to do that group presentation, because all of you may hear different things, depending on who you're interviewing. So actually the following week, you'll actually try that. And I did post, or attempt to post. I had to borrow some instructions on how to do that through VoiceThread. So if they're not right, I didn't make the instructions. I actually borrowed them from another university. So I have a group leader who will have to set up, and then a group member. So like I said, we're going to bear with it and we're going to try. But I have instructions, and they're pictures, so they're pretty good. So
is there a certain, like, age group or anything that we can go by, or
do what?
Is there like a certain age group that we have to interview for, or is it just?
No, it can be elementary or secondary, elementary, middle school, or high school.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't matter. They just have to be in an administrator role, because they see more of the issues that could come up with special education than if you were just to interview a third grade teacher. They may not know what are some of the issues.
Okay.
And then, like I said, and I opened this one up just a little bit early, so you kind of got time to make that contact, and so forth. Like I said, we'll give this a shot, and we'll figure out what worked and what didn't work. And maybe it'll go great, and there will be no hiccups whatsoever. But at least all the work will be done. It'll just be putting it into a PowerPoint and then doing a presentation. So
I had to do yeah, because I had to do a group presentation online before.
Did you? Okay, well, good. Maybe I'll make you a group leader, and you can just teach us all.
I don't know about that.
All right, so, and then there are, like I said, there are a few papers that we have to write in this class, and I do the peer review. You'll find your peer review. I thought I already did this. Okay. We have a bullying paper that we will be writing, and it's really about identifying what laws or what regulations are out there to protect students with disabilities from bullying, or the lack of laws to protect students with disabilities with bullying. Bullying is a very hot topic, like I said, especially when you're talking about students with disabilities. But I give you an opportunity to post a draft here, and you can see, I kind of give you some guidelines. Post a draft by Wednesday. That way you have a couple of days to provide feedback to someone else, and then you have a few days to make those changes. Generally, I'd like for you to post your feedback, and then post your assignment, your draft, and then when you're going to review someone's, so Lindsay, if you're going to review Savannah's, then you're going to post on hers and say, Savannah, I'm going to provide you feedback. That way someone else doesn't pick up Savannah's and provide her feedback too. Just leave a little comment on there and let her know that you're going to do her feedback. And then you have 2 days essentially to provide her feedback. Get it back to her by Friday, and then she still has Saturday and Sunday to make any, recommended changes, and then get the final draft submitted.
Okay. Well,
I want everybody to be able to have someone to review them.
Okay. And then will that be posted early too, or?
Those are generally I have this stuff a week. It comes out a week ahead of time. So if you look, like this one's due November 16th, which is the bullying, which is chapter 14. This comes open November 11th, and it's due 18th. So yeah, you have a little bit of time.
Is it going to be like a big paper?
Actually, it should open before then, technically. Sorry. It should open up after this one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Is it going to be a big paper or a short paper, or?
They are generally a couple of pages.
Okay.
I mean, we're not talking, 8 or 9 pages. It's just to get you thinking about, it's really just to research, did you find anything here in Indiana about laws?
Okay.
Do we know if there any federal legislation? Because that stuff's always changing. So I may have something one semester that there's nothing out there, but the next semester, guess what? A law's been passed, something's been into effect, and so forth. Like we have a new, there is, and I've got to add it in here, and it's going to be under 8. Chapter 8, I just read the Supreme Court document on Andrew, the ruling on that, and it just came out. It's actually technically ruled in 2017, but we don't get the rulings until, a little bit later. But those are going to be some really big changes in how schools can view FAPE and meeting, they call it des minimis, which is, we used to say you only have to show minimum effort or minimum effect. Like we'll give you a Pinto, but we won't give you a Cadillac kind of service. Well, the court says Pinto service isn't going to be good anymore. You're going to have to do the Cadillac service. And so that's some big implications, but that's new, that just came out.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, there's 2 more cases in the Supreme Court right now waiting to be heard that could make some changes to what we currently do. And then you just kind of go through. We have our last 2 sections on Indiana state law, where you have to review Article 7, which is Indiana's special education law. As you go through, you always keep in mind federal is the big overarching, and then state comes under federal. State can go above and beyond what federal requires. So I'll give you a good example. Federal law requires that transition services be started at the age of 16. Well, here in Indiana says, now we're going to do it at age 14. So it goes above and beyond. So we're still meeting what federal says, but they're taking it a step further. And that happens in other areas too. So this gives you an idea. You can start looking at that Indiana state law and figuring out, okay, well, what does Indiana specifically require? Because they may require us to do more than what the federal law requires. And then you have final, and there is a midterm in here somewhere. Okay.
Are those timed too, the final and the midterm?
I think you get an hour. I think the midterm is in chapter 7. Yes. Midterm is chapter 7. You get 60 minutes to complete the exam. And then you get 2 hours to complete the final exam. And you can still use your books and notes and things like that.
Okay. Because since will our final on that be from our quizzes, or?
Yes. Yes. Yep. And I leave those quizzes back open so you can go back in and look at your answers and things like that.
Okay. And then with the quizzes and that, will they give you the right answer?
Yes.
Okay.
And they tell you what you missed, because there are a few of these quizzes that have answers that are multiple select, like a select all. So you may miss because you didn't select enough of the correct.
Oh.
I hope to have it fixed now where it will even show you all of those too. If it doesn't, then just let me know. We can try to get that fixed.
Okay. Sounds good.
Chapter 10, I seem to have had some issues with that last time, but I think I got it fixed this time.
Okay.
But any questions or anything that comes up as we move along through this, like I said, we can host weekly meetings if we need to. We can do, however. Generally, after you kind of get moving, everybody kind of gets in their own pace and seems to go through okay. But it's, like I said, it's set up pretty structured. Everything is pretty much the same. There's always going to be some type of assignment, some type of quiz. There may be an additional activity in there each week. But
okay.
All right. Savannah, you got any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, if y'all don't have any more questions, that is it. And I will get these posted. Savannah, that 408 is kind of set up the same way how this is set up, so you should be okay. There's a few different type of assignments that you would do in that class, but just let me know if you've got any questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank y'all for coming. I'll see you later. Bye.
All right, thanks.